So there's a little bit of snow coming down right now. It's just tiny pieces, so hopefully this will push through and we will have some fresh snow here. But I don't have that much time today, so that's a bit of a problem. I have to get the kids from school in about 2 hours, so if there's snow coming, it has to come now. So welcome to a new video in the Netherlands this time. So we didn't travel to Belgium to find some snow, but yeah, there's been a tiny bit of snow for the past day, night, and yeah, they actually predicted some more snow in this area, and that was what I was hoping for. And yeah, it's now about 8:30, and it's expected to start snowing again from 9 o'clock. So that's what we're hoping for right here. There is a tiny bit of snow. I was at the large heather area a couple of minutes ago, but because it's just such a tiny bit, the heather comes through the snow everywhere, so you can't see the snow. So I knew there was this, there was a deer running by in the background. Did you see it? But it's gone now, I think. But I knew that this sand area, if there was snow here, it at least would look like there was a layer of snow, and that's the case. It's just a really tiny bit. So yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed that there's more snow coming, and yeah, we're just gonna have a look and see if we can find an image here. It's an overcast day, and hopefully there's some snow in these clouds. But if there's no snow coming and there's no light, and there's no snow on the ground, then it's going to be a hard morning, a really hard morning. So I found the first shot here. It's not much, but at least it's something that I'm actually quite happy with. And I'm going to show you on the back of the camera. I think because there's no light, it's going to be easy to show you. So let me do that. So this is the composition that I found. There's some fresh snow here, at least it looks fresh. And then you've got these birch trees here, and they're all white, and yeah, it's a bit misty and hazy. So yeah, I think a nice shot. At least it's something to shoot this morning. So just taking it f8, ISO 200, nothing fancy. Let's hope this works. So I found a rather nice composition here. There's a nice shaped tree on the tree line there, and there's no snow on it. But in the foreground here, there's all this snow on this sandy area, and there's a nice piece of wood here. So I just walked around it. So this wood is pointing in the direction of this tree. I can't walk to the wood because then you would see my footsteps in the snow, and that would ruin the whole shot. So I think this is actually quite a nice composition. Let me show you what I'm looking at here. So this is the composition, and I'm making use of this wood pointing to the back. But the only problem is I think this midground here is a little bit too dull. So I'm gonna try to get the camera from the tripod and lay down in this cold snow here, and hopefully I can illuminate this mid-ground. So I'm gonna try that first. I'm gonna take this shot, and then I'm gonna try the next one, and hopefully that will work out. You can see this is the shot on ground level, but when I move the camera up, you can see this mid-ground is getting larger and larger, and I just don't really like that. So yeah, what I'm trying to do here is just illuminate this mid-ground by getting the camera as low as possible. And yeah, I think I got a pretty nice shot here. I do have to focus stack it, so I took 3 shots, one on the branch in the foreground, one on the snow in the mid-ground, and one in that bush in the background. And later in Photoshop I will combine these images, so hopefully that will work out fine. Yeah, this could be a nice panel. So I did find another nice example of yeah, getting a bit of a higher vantage point to see the foreground better. So I'll try to show you behind me here. There are a couple of trees here, and they appear to be standing on islands. So there's a circle of snow around them, and I'm just trying to make a little panel here of these trees here. But when I was down there, you couldn't see this circle-shaped snow pattern here. So I've got up this little hill. It's maybe 2 or 3 meters higher, but it's just enough to make sure that you can see this line of snow flowing through. So yeah, I think I actually quite like this this composition. It's going to be a panel because I think the 16:9 is better, because you get a lot of gray sky in it. But it's just an image that has a good winter feeling to it, and yeah, there's something to it. So I think a rather nice image. Always make sure that when you're shooting a panel, put everything in manual and just zoom out a little bit. Just don't make the frame too tight. Just give it a little bit of space to blend it all together. And if you don't do that, you most of the times regret it in post-processing. So giving it a little bit more space, everything on manual, focusing on those trees, and yeah, hopefully this will look alright. I think a nice image with a bit of a winter touch to it. So I think a couple of nice shots here in this this particular area when I just shot this panel, and it's nothing really spectacular, but in these conditions it's just yeah, making the best of it. And yeah, what I always try to do in these conditions is imagine to yourself what things look like through the camera. Just like that first shot when I got down on the ground. Yeah, if you just walk around, you don't see that shot, and by laying on the ground, you illuminated all these footsteps through the snow, and that gives a really different approach to it. And especially when you look here to these trees, if you look at the whole tree, it might look a bit boring, but if you just take a part of this tree and stretch it as a little panel to the side of it, you get a whole different image. And especially with these conditions, with a little bit of fog, atmospheric conditions, the snow in the foreground, yeah, there still are some nice shots to be taken here, but you just have to work for it. That's the that's the whole problem. So it's gonna take some effort, and yeah, most of the time these shots eventually work out best because you had to push yourself to find them. So hopefully these are going to work out, and I'm not going to talk rubbish here about compositions and stuff, and everything failed. So I don't know. Let's hope for the best. I think it's fair to say that I was talking a little bit rubbish here, but yeah, I just wasn't satisfied with all of the images in this video. It was just a small clip, and yeah, I did like that first, the smaller panel of the two, but I think none of them are real keepers. But I think this one shot is pretty handy to show you how a focus stack works. And yeah, I'm going to show you in the computer now how I do this. And I think there are multiple ways of doing a focus stack, but I think this is the easiest way, and anyone can do it if you have Lightroom and Photoshop. So let's dive into it, and I will show you this edit. So this is the image that I was talking about to you, and I'm going to use only 2 of those images. So I'm not using the file with where I focused on the snow. Just 2 images did the job in this case. So I've got one selected here that's focused on the piece of wood in the foreground, and the second image is focused on the piece of tree in the background, and you can see that this piece of wood in the foreground is completely out of focus. So I already did a basic edit on this file, so what I'm going to do, you can also do this afterwards, but I prefer to do it in front. So I'll edit one file, and then I'll do the rest of the process. So in this case I edited this shot, and what I'm going to do now, I'm going to select the shot that I edited, and I'm going to select the second shot that I'm going to do. And you can do this with as many shots as you like. If you have a focus stack of 10 shots or 15 shots, you can select them all, and you push the synchronize button on the bottom here. So you just push this button, and you will see that Lightroom has now copied all the settings from the first shot to the second shot, and now they look kind of similar. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to select both of these shots in the bottom here, right click the mouse, I say edit, and then combine as layers in Photoshop. So we're getting back to Photoshop now, and usually it takes about 30 seconds to maybe a minute. It depends on how many layers you're using for your focus stack, and it depends on how fast your computer is, but it can be anywhere between 30 seconds and 1 minute. So I got both of these files into Photoshop right now, and you can see it in the right bottom here that I have 2 layers. And if you have a focus stack of 10 layers or maybe 20, 30 layers, you can see all these layers down here in the right bottom. So if you push the little eye in front of it, you can see that the image that I selected here is the one that is focused on the piece of wood in the foreground. And if I select this one, this is the one selected for the focus on the background, and the piece of wood is out of focus in the foreground. So first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to select both of these files in the right bottom, and I'm going to go to edit, and I'm going to auto align images. I leave this all on automatic, push OK, and what Photoshop is doing now, and this again takes about 30 seconds to a minute depending on how many layers you got, but it's putting these layers exactly above each other. So no matter how much effort you do to keep the tripod as steady as possible. And in this case I put the camera on the ground, so there's a little bit of movement between those shots, but it aligns those images right on top of each other, so this little bit of movement can be neglected from now. So we did that, and the second thing we are going to do, you can see this white little line here on top, that's actually the movement of the image. So we're going to get rid of that later, but I'm going to leave it for now. So I'm going to select those two images again. I'm going back to the Edit tab, and it says here auto flow these images. It's right underneath the auto align that we just used. So make sure you select the second thing to stack those images. And I've never changed these bottom things, so I leave them on. Push OK. And what Photoshop is doing now, it's selecting the sharpest parts of every image, and it combines that to a new image. So you can see it now that in the right bottom here, this new image has appeared. And it's actually quite funny to see, because these are the original images. And you can see that Photoshop has only used the top section of this last image, and if I turn this off, it only used the bottom section of the other image. So it combined that to this image, and you can see now it's focused on the tree in the background, and it's focused on the piece of wood in the foreground. So it's very easy, anybody can do this. What I like to do now usually is I select all of these images, push the right mouse button, and then combine these images. So if you do that, you get rid of all these layers that you're not using anymore. We're working with one file now, so that's very handy. Now the only thing we have to do is get rid of the little white line. You can do this in Lightroom if you want. You can also do it here in Photoshop if you use this little crop tool here, and you just make your image a tiny bit smaller on the sides where this little white line is appearing. And you can see that we got rid of it pretty easily. So then we go back here, we just say save the image, and it will automatically transport it back to Lightroom as a new file. So we just have to wait for it. So this is the shot we just edited in Photoshop. You can see it's focused on the background and focused on the piece of wood in the foreground. So this isn't the most spectacular shot, not the best shot I've ever taken, but I thought it was a nice way to show you how this focus stacking works. So yeah, that's it. I hope you liked this little tutorial, and yeah, hopefully I will see you on the next video. And I can already tell you that the video that's coming out this Sunday is a really good one. I've got quite possibly maybe one of the best shots that's going to be taken in 2023 in that video, and I'm just really excited about that one. So make sure you're watching this Sunday, and if you want a reminder, then please push the subscribe button and the thumbs up button, and there's also a little notification bell. If you push it and select all, you will get a message this Sunday when I release that video. So I hope you will like that on location video. So thanks for watching, hope to see you this Sunday, and bye bye.